and 612331, all the state of Texas versus Jeremiah Rodriguez. Are you Jeremiah Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Rodriguez, it's my understanding that you intended to enter a plea on case number 601827 and 608854. We need to talk about some matters involving constitutional rights and protections before we proceed any further. In each case, actually all four, but we're going to concentrate on the two cases here. On each case, you have a constitutional right to remain silent. That means you do not have to make any kind of statements. You cannot be compelled to answer questions. You cannot be required uh, to approve any waiver or giving up of rights, particularly the right to a jury trial, the right to confront witnesses. That means that you and your attorney can cross-examine, question, or challenge any witness who would testify. You have a right of what's called a right of appeal. That right is a right wherein you and or your attorney can demand that a higher court review these cases, in particular the ones you're pleading on, the official record on each one, which is being prepared by Ms. Rivera, the court reporter, the official record, the evidence, and uh, the results of these proceedings. You could the right to appeal means you could demand a higher court review all of this for whatever challenge you wanted to make. You also have a right to demand that these proceedings be held in a public courtroom. But because of the COVID pandemic, we're not doing public courtroom hearings. And all of these rights that I just mentioned, you are giving those up in order to enter these pleas. Is that, do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I understand.
All right, and you discussed all of these with your attorney, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, on the right to a public hearing in a public courtroom, the state has that right also. They can demand that hearing. And in each of these two cases, uh, they will be signing and have signed an agreement, a consent to hold these hearings in video conference on the computers as we're doing. I'm showing you on let me start off saying this at the top of all these documents with some simple exceptions, you will find what I would call introductory information. At the very top, if you look at that screen, it says this one is cause number 601827, the state of Texas versus Jeremiah Matthew Rodriguez in county court at law number 5, Bexar County, Texas. Now, this particular document is titled State's Consent to Video Conference. That title is in bold print, all capitals. You will notice that this particular document has been signed by Andrew Harris Edelman, the Assistant District Attorney, agreeing that they are consenting to the video conference as opposed to the public courtroom. Do you see that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. On 601827, again, we're looking at the next document. It's called a discovery acknowledgement. If you look at the very first line, it says pursuant to Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. That is the specific law on the books that requires the state to provide to you and your attorney documents, materials, videos, everything that exists, statements, so that you and your attorney can make a fully informed and intelligent decision. This has been signed by the district attorney and by your attorney. They're saying, yes, this law has been obeyed. Did you see that document?
Yes, sir.
Now, all of these documents that I'll be showing you, have you yourself reviewed them with your attorney?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Okay. The next document is 601827. This is the defendant's consent to video conference. You just told me verbally that you agree to do this on video conference, and this is the written document that is being approved by you and your attorney. Did you actually review this and sign it?
Yes,
All right. The one I'm seeing is blank on your signature, but apparently you did sign one.
I signed 2 papers.
All right. The next document, this one is again the introductory information, and this one's titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir, I do.
Did you review it with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about it?
No, Your Honor, I do.
All right, I'm going to just review a couple of things with you in particular. This has 3 individual sentences that are separated at the very beginning of this document. The first one says that you don't need me to read the official papers that you're charged with assault, bodily injury, married / cohabiting or cohabitation. That's the second sentence says that is the charge. Then the third sentence says you're pleading guilty to that assault, bodily injury, married / cohabitation charge. Did you see all those 3 different sentences? You understand them and agree that's correct?
Your Honor, the one I signed was no contest.
Okay.
That's correct, Your Honor. There was some paperwork that had to be redone at the last minute.
So are we going to Mr. Edelman? Are we going with the no contest or with the guilty?
No contest, sir.
No contest. All right. The court staff will correct that. It will not be guilty. It'll be no contest. Just so you understand, Mr. Rodriguez, a plea of no contest in this court is considered a guilty plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, the rest of this particular document is broken up into 15 numbered divisions or sections. The number 1 that you see right in front of you there talks about how you can be punished, the range of punishment. There's a check mark in a little box in front of what's called Class A. Each of the boxes there has some different meaning as far as punishment, but this one is Class A. You can be punished for this offense with a fine from $0 to $4,000 and jail from 0 days to 1 year. Do you see and understand that? Pardon me?
I said, yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay. Number 2 is particularly important. It says that you know that you have a right to a jury trial, a right to cross-examination of witnesses, and a right to remain silent. And you declare that you are freely and voluntarily giving up those rights. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Have you ever had any kind of mental health problems?
No.
Have you ever been given or taken mental health medication?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now, number 4 talks about the plea of nolo contendere. Was that explained to you?
Yes.
All right. Have you ever been involved in any kind of sex offender registration program?
No.
All right. Now, where were you born, sir?
San Antonio, Texas.
The papers will reflect that you are a U.S. citizen.
Yes, Your Honor.
Some of these from 9 to 15, some of them do not apply because they have to do with sex offender matters. But number 15 in particular, I need you to, let's see, hold on a second. There's a provision in here. Back up, Patricia. Number 9. You need to know and understand that if you are convicted, see number 9?
Yes.
You need to know and understand that if you're convicted of misdemeanor offense involving violence, where it involves a spouse, intimate partner, parent, or guardian, uh, there are some possible uh, consequences or problems that arise from that regarding access to firearms and handguns. Now, understand that a deferred adjudication is not a conviction, but it can be. So you need to be very much aware of that. I'm sure Mr. Uh, Sabrin has discussed this with you carefully. Is that correct, Mr. Sabrin?
Yes, Your Honor, and we've discussed it and discussed the consequences of being convicted of such an offense.
All right. Now, number 15, I want to point out to you, it says that you have a right, you're giving up the right, that's what this paper says, to have me order a risk and needs assessment. That means that instead of stopping everything right now and ordering this study done, you are in agreement or you do not want me to do that risk and needs assessment. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Okay. Did you review this document carefully and did you sign it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this next document, this is me talking. This is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. The number 5 box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth little box is going to be marked, and it says this is a plea bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. Did you see and understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You and your attorney did sign it.
Yes.
All right, Patricia. The next document, again, introductory information. This says application for deferred adjudication. There's several things I want to discuss with you right now. First of all, did you see and understand what you were signing on this application?
Yes, I understood.
Did you understand what you're telling me under oath when you signed this?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right. Now, a deferred adjudication is a special type of community supervision, and your attorney has done a very good job in getting this for you. You have a felony pending. You have 4 misdemeanors. The deal that's been made for you is very, very helpful if you don't screw it up. And what I'm saying to you is this. I will proclaim shortly that there's enough evidence to find you guilty. And I have that just by your pleading no contest. But I will not find you guilty. You're not going to be convicted unless you screw up.
Yes, sir.
If you live up to 100%, did you hear what I said? 100%.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, then the case winds up getting dismissed and you have not been convicted of the charge. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you mess up, either you fail to do something or you refuse to do something in the conditions, then the state can ask me to send you official notice, bring you in for a hearing, at which, if the evidence supports it, I can and I will, if the evidence supports it, enter a conviction. And that'd be bad news for you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
That conviction would follow you the rest of your life. And in addition, it would have all kinds of consequences because it is in the realm of violence of what they call married. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't want to mess this up. You've got a deal of a lifetime.
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
did you fill out the personal data sheet here? Mine is blank. Did you fill it out?
That one I did not.
I'm sorry.
That one I did not.
You're gonna have to go by the court and fill all this out.
Okay.
Who are you working for?
Right now, I work with my grandpa whenever he has any side jobs, but I'm going to school right now.
All right, so you're a student.
Yes, I'm waiting to go to, for the It's the City Alamo Workforce Program, and they're gonna pay for my school to learn electrician.
All right, you'll have to put in the information here at the courthouse or
Okay.
with the assistance of your attorney, but we need it on file.
Yes, sir.
All right. You were born here in San Antonio. You're a U.S. citizen. Are you married at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Have you been married in the past?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And do you have any children?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, good. All right. Have you served in the military?
No, Your Honor.
And what kind of vehicle do you have?
I do not have a vehicle.
All right, I'll address that in the next question. We'll need to talk about it. Okay. Next document, Patricia. The document you're being shown now is called a plea agreement. It has a little bit of a difference. It has the introductory information, but it does not mention the court. It doesn't have to. Now, at this point, I want to draw your attention to the two check marks. The first one talks about that we have discussed your particular constitutional right, in particular the right to remain silent. Then there's one where I have found that you are a U.S. citizen. Now, Mr. Edelman, I'll point out that blue arrow there. Be aware of it. We'll discuss it later.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
then we have defendant's acknowledgements. There's 5 check marks in little boxes, and after each box, there's a declaration, a statement about the fact that you have, you're acknowledging, you're agreeing that all these things that are contained in there concerning your particular rights have been discussed and explained to you by your attorney, and you understand them. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, one thing that I'll point out, the last arrow, you made a deal. You've gotten, like I said, a hell of a deal. I don't have to accept that. As a judge, I have the authority and the responsibility to say yes or no. I can also give you any punishment in the range of punishment, 0 to 4,000, 0 days to a year. I can give you any punishment in that range, even if it's higher, heavier than what you agreed to. Now, if I reject your deal or I give you a heavier punishment, the law would allow you to start all over again. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, officially, to the charge of assault, bodily injury, married, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
All right. The plea is nolo contendere, no contest. I remind you that under the law, this court considers that a guilty plea. You
Yes, sir.
understand that? All right. Now, I will be ordering you to fill out all the papers as required. Also, within 7 days, I need you to go over to the offices of County Court at Law Number 5 and have your thumbprint put on the different documents as required by law. They will assist you there. The office is in a hallway behind the main courtroom. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, based on your plea of no contest, I find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty. I honor the agreement that's been made between you and the state, and that is that you're granted 2 years deferred adjudication. You're fined $500. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You will perform 200 hours of community service restitution. You will have no contact with Desiree Marie Lopez. I want to make sure you know very clearly that if you go anywhere near her, you violate the restrictions on being anywhere near her, you're going to be in a lot of trouble because they can bring you in and we can convict you. Did you hear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Real quick, Mr. Ailman, what's BIPP?
Battering Intervention and Prevention Program.
All right. You will participate in good faith, enroll in and complete the Battering Intervention and Protection Program. Is that correct? Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, I will require you to pay $25 a month in supervisory fee. That is the minimum by law.
Yes.
Now, are there any questions, Mr. Rodriguez,
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Edelman on this particular case,
No, sir.
Mr. Sabrin on this particular case?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now, court will call case number 608854, State of Texas versus Jeremiah Rodriguez. The charge is DWI with enhancement of 0 higher, meaning, generally speaking, this is called driving while extremely intoxicated.
Yes, Your Honor.
I am going to review these documents a little more quickly because they are the exact same documents that you saw a while ago, except that they identify this as case number 608854. This first one is the state's consent to video conference. The charge is different, as I just announced. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. It is signed by Mr. Edelman. The state has consented to the video conference instead of the public courtroom. The second document is the discovery acknowledgement. Again, this is Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. It is signed by your attorney and the state's attorney, agreeing that the state has obeyed the law and fulfilled the law on the discovery. You're shown now your written consent to video conference, wherein you give up the right to demand that this be done in the public courtroom. Do you recognize it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you agree that you did sign a document agreeing that to do the video conference instead of public courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then you're shown now the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions. This is the one that says it repeats, however, it repeats these 3 sentences on top, talking about that I don't need to read to you the charge. Then you say the charge I know is DWI with blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. We call that in the courtroom extreme intoxication. This one says you're pleading guilty to DWI 0.15 or higher. Is that accurate, or is this also nolo contendere?
No, Your Honor, I am guilty.
What?
I am guilty.
All right, you're pleading guilty to this one. All right, the rest of this document, just like the previous one, is divided into 15 numbered sections or divisions. The first one is the punishment for this particular charge. If you'll notice, there's a second little box out of the ones that are stacked up vertically. This one says DWI first, but with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or more. And this is a range of punishment $0 to $4,000 fine and jail 0 days to 1 year in jail. Did you see and understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then we have number 2. It says that you are freely and voluntarily giving up the right to a jury trial, the right to cross-examine witnesses, and the right to remain silent. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that number 2 there?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Number 3, we talked about a while ago. All of this to these, it's the same law, the same situation. Number 8, you are still the same citizen that was born in San Antonio. There is a little matter in here that talks about that this is, since this is a DWI, there are specific tests and materials that involve DWI evidence and such, and you're giving up the right to demand that they be produced. You understand that, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All of these 15 different divisions in this document, you have reviewed with your attorney carefully and you understand them.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the same here, number 15, you're not demanding, you're giving up the risk and needs assessment or review or test. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. It's been signed by your attorney, by the state's attorney. In this particular case, 608-854, I declare on the fifth box that will be checked appropriately that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will be signing the original document. Your attorney has already signed. Now, you have here an application for judge-ordered community supervision probation. In 608-854, did you understand what you're telling me under oath by signing this application?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is not a deferred adjudication. This is what's called a straight probation or straight community supervision. This one, I will find you guilty. And, well, are we going to do a guilt on this, Mr. Edelman?
I'm sorry, sir, repeat that question.
All right. This is not a deferred, is that correct?
That is correct. This is for regular community supervision, sir.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
In
that's
this,
correct.
in this instance, Mr. Rodriguez, what is happening is you will be placed under community supervision. You will have been found guilty. Uh, Remind me about the indigence on this, Mr. Edelman. You will be found guilty and you will be placed under community supervision. You will have a fixed fine and jail sentence, but it will be suspended. The jail sentence will be suspended on condition that you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. If you fail or refuse, the state will ask me, in all likelihood, they will have the right to ask me to have a hearing, at which time we will determine whether we go ahead and put you in jail in accordance with the agreement that you will have signed. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, this document, you reviewed it with your attorney and you signed it. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The next document, Patricia? Again, you'll have to fill this one out too, just like you were supposed to do the other one.
Yes,
Fill it
Your
out
Honor.
completely, do it within a few days. Just like the other document, it'll be a repetition of the other one in the other case. Also, you have to have your thumbprint placed on the documents in that case. That's 608-854. Do you have any questions, Mr. Rodriguez?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now, the plea agreement, Patricia. This is the plea agreement on this particular case. The introductory information, as I pointed out in the other case, is a little bit different on this plea agreement. It has your name and the case number. It does not refer to the court. In this case, I will be marking the first two boxes again, just like in the other one. You are still a U.S. citizen. We have discussed with you your particular constitutional rights. The next section is titled Defendant's Acknowledgements. It's the same as the other, but this one is an application of this particular case. All 5 check marks indicate that you know and understand and you agree that all these rights and discussions have been had, that they were explained to you and you understand them. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The next section says DWI specific allegations. The check mark on the box says state will proceed with DWI as alleged in the charging instrument. That is the DWI with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or more. Mr. Rodriguez, two, in case number 608854 to the charge of DWI with blood alcohol content of 0.15 or more or higher. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
All right. Now, based on your plea and the evidence, hello?
Yes.
Okay. Based on your plea of guilty and the evidence, I find that you are guilty.
Yes, Your
Uh,
Honor.
you are to appear within 7 days. You see the papers in front of you?
Yes.
You're to appear within 7 days at the courthouse offices to fill out the information that's maybe missing and to have your thumbprint placed on the documents. I find you guilty. You are sentenced to 1 year in Bexar County Jail, probated for a term of 2 years. That means it's suspended. The jail term is suspended for 2 years. You are fined $500. You will perform 200 hours of community service, community supervision, community service.
Yes, Your Honor.
You will, as part of the conditions,
Yes, Your Honor.
in good faith, enroll in and complete the DWI education program, the DWI Victim Impact Panel. You'll complete a TAP evaluation and follow the recommendations. You will have 1 year of ignition interlock on your vehicle. Now, you told me momentarily that you do not have a vehicle.
Yes, Your Honor. I did not.
Where is it? What happened to the one you were driving when you were arrested?
I totaled it.
You totaled it. So your family has not provided another one to you?
No.
You be careful because you would screw everything up if you're running around, driving around on a vehicle.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand? In lieu of the ignition interlock, you'll have the uh, portable alcohol monitor uh, for that same period of 1 year.
Yes, Your
During the entire 2 years of probation on this matter, you will not have any alcohol, not a drop, not birthdays, Christmas, I don't care what. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Your Texas driver's license will be suspended for 1 year. Since you're not driving, it should not really affect you or your life.
Yes,
All
Your Honor.
right. The supervisory fee in this case will be $25 a month. That will run concurrent with the case number 601827. Questions, Mr. Rodriguez?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sabrin?
Your Honor, I just wanted to note to the court that Mr. Rodriguez has already completed the DWI education program and the DWI Victim Impact Panel. And I just request that proof of that will be presented to probation will be sufficient to complete those.
Very good. The court will grant credit for those when you provide the appropriate documentation. Now, since you are a student and not full-time employed, the court finds that for purposes of the state of Texas fine for DWIs, you are indigent and not subject to that particular fine. There is a fine on conviction of $3,000 for the first. So be aware of that. I specifically make that finding. Questions, Mr. Edelman?
No questions, sir. When we wrap up here, I will tender dismissals to the court for DWLI and resisting arrest, and I will carbon copy defense counsel on those.
All right, now talk to me on the record about the felony pending that's supposed to be TIC'd also.
Yes, sir. That is cause number 2020 CR 0794. I will alert ADA Irwin, who is assigned to that case, to let her know that the pleas in these cases have been entered and she should submit a dismissal form to her court as quickly as possible.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes, Your Honor.
you're attorney, and I am aware that this is with the understanding and the assistance of the state, uh, has in a simple sense pulled a rabbit out of the hat for you, because you've got 5 cases, one of them a felony, and you're walking out of here with 2 cases in which you've entered pleas, one of them a deferred adjudication, which if you live up to everything like you're supposed to, you wind up with only 1 conviction out of 5. Uh, I will assure you that having received the benefit of that kind of help, you screw it up, I'm going to be very much aware of it. I suggest to you that you don't want to come back in front of me, because if the evidence shows that you screwed up, you're going to find out that there will be no sympathy for you. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
I want to say thank y'all for this opportunity and just thank y'all for today.
All right. Mr. Durbin, or rather Mr. Sabrin, you've done some remarkable work for this young man.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I salute you for that. I just hope that it doesn't come back to haunt you or I. And I would suggest that you kind of ride herd on this young fella.
Well, he has good family support behind him as well. So I feel confident that he stands a very good chance of completing all this successfully.
All right. Well, good luck, young fella. All of you. I think that